Do you know that in Africa, in ancient Africa, major mystery schools developed and they have influenced all the civilizations that have emerged on the earth? And there is no other mystery school that we know of today, or universities, or occult, or academy, or esoteric college that predates these schools. And from these schools and esoteric organizations or mystery schools that Ma'at Ubuntu spirituality developed and was hijacked and used by others to develop their own esoteric knowledge. And you need this esoteric knowledge. Why? Let's look at this fact, because it solves problems. Because esoteric knowledge from African mysteries covers a large and exciting range of subjects aimed at dealing with questions, considering and the searches for answers to questions that continue to plague the human mind, the inner, confidential, private, specifically for those on a path of personal unfoldment, knowledge and understanding. Questions like and answers to who am I, where do I come from, why am I here, where do I go from here, why must I suffer pain? And it is very clear that the Greeks came to Africa as students to discover what Africans already knew, like writing, science, medicine, spirituality, anything that you can name, they took from Africa. However, what we know now is that the apex or the highest development in our civilization is expressed primarily by the signatures that we find in Kemet, largely emblazoned by the pyramidal structures and other ancient stone structures found all over the earth. This cannot be debated, and it gives us the idea that melanin dominant human beings were all over the earth and civilized and attempted the earth to be habitable by human beings. In a stele of Yebu, the people of ancient Kemet themselves confess that they came from Aku land, the land that is found in southern Africa, so-called sub-Saharan Africa. Because of that, we know that the higher mystery schools of the gods is what we must study to establish Ubuntu Ma'ati, so that we can meet modern challenges using these ancient solutions. The original gods and their last mystery schools established in Kemet are found within the spirit of the oral traditions that are passed across all indigenous societies that emanate from totemism right into animism and then into the unknown. That is where all this began. The people who developed Kemet came from these countries found in sub-Saharan Africa. Of course, even Ptolemy and his map knew that from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia here, that's where these people came from. From these slides, we learn that King Nateketi, speaking in context, said he departed and returned quickly to the land where Hapi, which is the river Nile, originated from. And he said once he came from that and he was given the power, no other king was able to defeat him or to surpass him. So let's give the names, the original names we find of these prominent cities where the esoteric knowledge was developed to the highest level. We got the city known as Heliopolis by the Greeks. Its original name is Unu, Bukalanga, or Bukaranga. We got another city the Greeks named Heliopolis. Its original name is Kamino or Kamunu. We've got another city, Abydos, is Mabechku. We got a Tendera, so-called Tendera today. Of course, Tendera is not far from Tendera Ta, which is its original name. And we've got the holiest city, which every melanin dominant human being ought to visit and stand on the sense of Wazoti, Gutadzene, holy city for all melanin dominant human beings, so-called Thebes today. Tabu Edufu, Basusati Filaye, Parawejeti Buto, Jajadu Mendes, Saudo Sais, Pa Bastete, Ubastit, Manyepfura, so-called Memphis. We want to highlight quickly that the Mediterranean Sea was called Wajgawere, and the so-called city of Alexandria was Rakodziba, and this country was known as Kemet or Ptah. We shall consider this. The primary dominant theme of all our ideology, philosophy, and spirituality when it comes to the understanding of the creation as a mystery in mystery schools, it is the waters of Nyunyu. This theme is the one that dominates our book, Free from God, Unveiling Spirituality That Breeds Wisdom, because it connects you to the chasm and it wants to push you to the unknown creator who is nameless, who has no identity, and no human mind can know about that. At first, there was only Nyunyu, the waters of the darkness of chaos, and out of that then developed all that which we know. Some major mystery schools that we will think of today and consider in this session, it's Heliopolis. We have already identified it as On. In the Bible they call it On, but it's Unu. It is attributed to Atum or Atema, a deity closely associated with Ra, who was said to have existed in the waters of Nyunyu. This is what we have said, Bukara Nga Ra or La. That's the potential for that innate power of the sun as depicted and taught by our ancestors. This school of Heliopolis or of Unu is what Marifado dominates Marifado's teachings. This is where we are largely based. We will show that all the others feature here and there, but we are largely dominated by the school of Unu, so-called Oni in the Bible. This is the waters of Nyunyu, and then the self-created divinities like Atum came out of the waters of Nyunyu, and above these waters of Nyunyu, we don't know. That's where the real stuff dwells. We can't say a lot. That's uncreated matter there, above the waters of Nyunyu. And then we've got Zeptepi. It is the so-called Big Bang now, or the beginning of creation. And we've got the sky, the earth, and our own world today, or our own galaxy. This is also explained here, shown exactly like here, the rising of the mound or the earth. The Unu, or city of the sun, Bakalanga or Bukaranga, left all the marks across the whole earth as we have demonstrated. This is the pillar of Bukaranga, so Heliopolis, Unu, so-called Iunu, pillar city, biblical On, one of the most ancient Hamitic cities, and the city of worship of the sun god Re, Bukaranga. We also built the conical towers. If you know the history about this, you know that they left the 8 beds facing all the cosmic direction to capture the rays of the sun. This is where the philosophy of the house of Ptah or Ka was also developed. The creation myth promulgated in the city of Heliopolis focused on the nature of the universe before the creation of the world. The inherent qualities of the primeval waters of Nyunyu, were represented by a set of 8 divinities, males and females. It is this city, Kemun or Heliopolis, where we also learn of the creation of man, where the life or consciousness or soul is put into man through the sign of the Ankh. These are the 8 gods, and out of that the primeval mound, which represents matter, the arrival of matter, and also birth of Ra and the creation. You see, this is clearly taught by our ancestors. So we also look at Heliopolis, and we know that they also have got the star zodiac connected with the Chimunu, the original city, which has always been called Chimunu or Kamunu or Kamuno, where Amen and other gods created human beings. The Greeks changed it to Heliopolis, but that's not the original name. We now come to Manyefuara, so-called Memphis. The Memphite version of creation centered on the god Ptah, who was the patron god of craftsmen. As such, he is represented as a craftsman, as the god of the craftsmen, who envisions and sees a finished product and shape materials to create that product. The Memphite theology says that Ptah similarly created the world in that way. The document tells us that through the thoughts that he had and the power of speech, and in his heart, he was able to conceptualize the universe and create all else that we see. It is at this Memphis mystery school that we learn that Ptah created the god Atum, and Eshu, Tefniat, Gev, and Yute, and all the other 5 epigomenal divinities. So it is very important for you to look at this and consider that these schools were not fighting against the other, but they were developing and they were used by the divinities to pass on knowledge to us. Now, when it comes to the skull cap, this one, I normally wear the skull cap. If you have seen me, it is the cap of Ptah, because it is the cap of knowledge. Every melanin dominant human being wears this. Our priest wears what is known as chiremba with the feather of Maat, but this is another one. Ptah is variously described as the creator in heaven and earth, who has made all things, the Lord of all that is and is not, the Father of the Son God, Lord of truth, Father of the fathers of gods, the King of both worlds, the Lord of light, which shows everything its true form, the ruler of the sky, the beautiful face, Master of justice, Master of ceremonies, Lord of eternity, he who listens to prayers, great with love, and others listed in many books. The seal ring in the image shown here, the skull caps, shows that Ptah is the master. And also, ancient Kemet was also named as Wat Ptah, meaning the house of the soul of Ptah. We look at Thebes now, and its powerful temples. It's a holy city for Bantus. It was known as Wazot. The Theban theology, or the theology from Wazot, claimed that Amun or Amun was not merely a member of the Ogdoad, but the hidden force, unknown, unseen, going to the beyond the chasm. This is very important, because this is our holy city with all its temples. It's the holiest of all our cities. Although On or Unu, Heliopolis, and the others are critical, but this is the center of our understanding. Waseti means the city of the scepter. Ta Ipet, which means the shrine, the city of 100 gates, and the many other names that are associated with them. The Arabs, the conquerors that are there today, named it Luxor, palaces, but that's not its original name. Now here are the different creation myths now in summary. Heliopolitan, Heliopolis, we already know is Unu or Anu, dominated by Atum or Atema. Heliopolitan, which we know as Kamunu or Camino, which means the life, the city where the life or the mystery where we were taught about the origin of the soul of the life. All these other centers, of course, taught about the origin of the soul and everything, but they were all having different perspectives and other inputs that are not common in others. And the major deities of specific cities were different. And Ptah is Memphite. And Amen is Thebes. We also use a lot of Amun ourselves. Now, why do we study this? Why study history? Why look at these things? Because it gives us the key to the past and our present status, and also causes us to be focused into the future, how our future would look like, what we want our future to be. Because a scholar said a world without esoteric knowledge is a poorer place. And we as humanity pay the price for the loss of its principles. Someone is taking your soul. Someone is stealing your soul and using it for their own advantage. Knowledge of self will destroy self-hatred. This is what our ancestors taught. History is teacher of wisdom. Hence our book is unveiling spirituality that breeds wisdom. Don't be dismissive of the people of the past. They learned how to do amazing things without resorting to Wikipedia, to internet, to Google, to iPhones, or to YouTube. So you go to these divinities on your knees and absorb and drink knowledge. Yet there is more that we shall share concerning this theme. Subscribe to our channel, like our channel Kemet Iburu Ethics. Share this channel with as many people as possible. The likes are very important because it keeps us going. If you want to learn more, if you want to be involved, send us an email at join@marifado.com. Your manager Topi, Priest Rabbi LM Tumizul Kunkenim Jakanja says, till we meet again, search for these schools, mystery schools, schools of knowledge. For a world without esoteric knowledge is poorer. An individual without esoteric knowledge is dull, dumb, daft, and a chlamydian. Amen.